Yo, what's good, Chiefs Kingdom?
What's up?
Welcome if you're joining us to a special bonus schedule. I guess you could look ahead to look back to the schedule release and look ahead to the upcoming 2022 schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs. Pretty exciting. Several things to talk about. Kind of interesting the way it lays out and the way the schedule makers put some games and clustered some things together. So plenty to talk about there. We'll break it down. If you're joining us, we'd love to know what you think about the schedule. I know I've had some people on Twitter say that yeah they watch but they don't comment in, or we had someone a couple episodes back say it was the first time that they had commented even though they had been watching us before. So don't be shy. Send us those comments. Send us those questions. We'd love to know what everybody thinks about the schedule coming out. If you haven't already clicked like and subscribe, do that now. Helps us out a ton. We would be forever indebted to you for helping us out by doing that. Very thankful. Very appreciative. Fellas, Bo, Nick, how you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. The schedule release to me is one of the more exciting things. I mean, I get excited about the draft and anything Chiefs really, but um, when the schedule comes out, you kind of already know who the opponents are. So I kind of like to try and guess who are they going to play first. Are they going to
Right.
have how many primetime games, which we'll talk about. But yeah, no, the schedule is exciting, and just going to rub this in a little bit. But as a Chiefs season ticket holder, the all of the tickets load up in the app on there when they release the schedule. So that kind of makes it feel
Ooh, that's
real.
got to feel good. Yeah,
It
right?
does.
Just
Yeah,
like,
that the season's coming up. So yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited. Nick, how are you?
Yeah, until you check your bank statement.
yeah, right.
Well, I put it on the credit card so it doesn't show up on the bank
Oh yeah,
statement.
it's not even real money then. No, I'm doing great, man. I mean, it's a beautiful spring day here. We got
yeah,
garden planted, Chiefs new schedules released. I mean, everything's great, man. It's exciting. It is exciting when you see the schedule release, and it's like a real season that's upcoming now. We've got our guys from the draft. We know who we're playing, when we're playing, where we're going.
I think it kind of like helps the season develop a personality already, right? Like you're just
yeah,
kind of already like, yeah, this is going to be a unique monster in itself.
yeah. They give that little bit of like a tease because you know who the home and the away opponents are for a few months after the previous season ends, based on how they rotate conferences and divisions playing one another, and then how the final standings in the divisions go as far as conference. That's who you play. You know, if you win the division, you play the other winners. Um, so that they kind of give that little bit of a tidbit there, a little bit of a tease, and then the schedule comes out. So Nick mentioned the draft. I thought our episode we did a few weeks ago, our post draft reaction show, was really good. Talked about all the players, broke down some details. I got some feedback that some people liked that. So if you've got some time to kill, you want to go back and watch that. That I think was a really good episode. Talking draft and talking draft picks and new players is always exciting as well. So
It's
check that
exciting when
out.
your team drafts well, right? And they actually draft some
Yeah,
good players, and it's exciting to talk about. And you're like, okay, let's
when all
go.
the draft grades don't come back, and it's like, oof, these guys have no clue what they're doing.
Obviously, I mean the jury is out. It usually takes a couple of years for you to find out how your draft turned out, but rave reviews so far from pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And we broke that all down in the episode previous to this one from a couple weeks ago. So hop on there if you got some time to kill. Check it out, and let us know what you think. You can go to our social medias at Chiefs Kingdom Live and interact with us there. That's always a lot of fun. We follow and have some really cool followers. There's always good content on there. So hit us up there. Bo does the Insta and the Facebook as well. You can find us on there. Fun stuff. Let's just jump into the schedule. You just want to do like overall thoughts first and then
Yeah,
go game
sure.
by game, or do you want to do kind of go through the game list here and then kind of summarize at the end? What do you want
We
to
can
do?
kind of just list the games. We don't have to go through them in detail, right? And then kind of go overall thoughts. Because I mean, there's a lot to unpack in 17 games, right? It's like
Sure.
an extra game this season, like last year, and then So I
Yeah.
mean, let's just kind of list them off. General overview.
Yeah, and it's the Chiefs. They benefited last year. They played 9 home games and 8 road games, and that obviously flip flops now. And the Chiefs play 9 road games and 8 home games. So, kind of a
Right.
unique twist to the 17 game uneven, unbalanced schedule.
Right.
Week 1, we got here at the Arizona Cardinals. That should be an interesting matchup. Seems like the Chiefs start on the road almost every year for some reason or another.
Seems like it.
And it kind
Right.
of starts a trend here with the Chiefs starting 3 of the first 4 on the road, right?
Yeah.
So at Arizona Cardinals, an interesting thing about this game, DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for the first 6 games of the season. The Arizona Cardinals, the last few years since they got Cliff Kingsbury as their coach, have started hot though and kind of cooled as the season went on. Not saying that that's, a guarantee of how they're going to start this year, but a kind of an interesting NFC road game to start the season. We talked about maybe traveling out there to Arizona. I was really hoping for a December game. Get out of the cold weather here in KC and go to sunny Arizona, but we'll be going where it's probably actually be hotter than it is here. But Nick and I grew up in the Southwest as well as Bo, and
It's a dry heat. It's
I love the desert and the dry heat.
110, but it's a dry heat.
Right, yeah. Remember those shirts I used to sell out there? It was like a skeleton next to a cactus and a sun. And it was like, but it's a dry heat. I've never quite. I get what people are saying with the humidity, and it sucks. But once you get to a certain level of heat, a certain temperature, like especially when you get into triple digits, dry heat to me is worse. It just cooks you.
I don't know, man. I lived in San Antonio, Texas last year during the summer, and I had to move. So like I moved from the 3rd-story apartment, 3 flights of stairs, no elevator kind of thing. And when you walk outside and it's 97 degrees outside and the same percentage humidity, that's just miserable. I would take 110 dry heat over that. Like it's just, you walk out into a wall of water, it's hard to breathe. You instantly start sweating.
Right.
I'll take a dry heat.
Yeah. So we're thinking about maybe we've got a follower too that has invited us to do a show from a bar that he runs there, kind of in the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. So maybe we'll try to link that up and try to do that. So interesting game. Just quick thoughts. What do you guys think about that opening game, Nick?
This is the reuniting Mahomes and his college coach, right?
Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury. So what do you guys think the over-under is on the mentions of that relationship during the game broadcast?
What's the number you're setting it at? Because it's going to be,
I don't know, 10.
Probably high.
Oh, over 10.
He knows Mahomes because he coached him in college. I mean, you're gonna hear that over and over again. Yeah, I mean it's if you wanted to play the Cardinals like later in the season, looks like that's the better time to play them. There's been some turmoil there with their quarterback and social media and deleting all the references to the team on his social media. There's a lot of weird passive aggressive things that happen with social media, and you always wonder if like maybe someone's just like redoing their Twitter page or something, and then it's like becomes news because there's just like isn't anything else going on. But I mean it's not going to be an easy game. The Cardinals winning record last season, right? But it's going to be one of the easier games to start out the year. So I mean I'll take it. I know we'll talk about game 2, but I'm not a big fan of late game on the road going into a Thursday night game the next week. Not a super great way to start out the season, but should be interesting to see. I mean, 2 of the really dynamic young quarterbacks in the league going at each other. You've got the tie-in with Mahomes versus college coach. Should be good TV.
Yeah, I like this game as a first game. there's plenty of other teams I would not want to face week one, especially with a newly tooled offense. And like, we're still, a very, very young defense, which is also why I'm glad D-Hop's not going to be in that game week one. I mean, we're going to have so many young guys out there that like, we do not need some guy like that just ripping them apart, really exposing them early. It'll help them get their feet on the ground, get established, learn a thing or two out there, get some real snaps in against Kyler Murray, who's, he's always a threat. Like, he's top 5 running back for me, even though he's a quarterback. Like, that dude is insanely quick and runs so much. And that's kind of been our Achilles heel, is our run defense. So it's always a threat. But I mean, the Chiefs I feel like they're always better than the Cardinals. We got 15, we got 87, we got a whole new receiving core. League doesn't know anything about what we're trying to do. Andy Reid's I think we're going to see some fun, cool plays this opening week, dude. A whole new receiving core and Andy Reid trying to see what he has. So I'm looking forward to that. But I also agree with Nick. I'm not stoked that we go into a short week, but I was telling him before the broadcast, like, I do like that in the sense that, like, you get those guys back out on the field practicing all that stuff again quicker. So it helps them, maybe soak it up a little bit faster. But I like it. There's plenty of other teams I wouldn't want to play week one. So I like Arizona.
Yeah, Andy Reid's always got the new playbook, especially the new look offense with some of the new players they got. They're going to have to change things up with the Cheetah residing down in Miami now. So that should be an interesting game. I think that's a game the Chiefs should win. Yeah. I know Arizona had a winning record, but again, they come out hot out of the gate, it seems like, and I don't know if that's competition or whatnot, but no D-Hop early in the year. Chiefs have traditionally crushed it and come out with a bunch of exciting plays and schemes that teams have not been able to prepare for. Not a bad way to start the season.
Andy Reid's also got a killer opening record.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take him.
Right. So, okay. Then Nick mentioned week 2, the home opener, the first game on Amazon Prime. Right. That's the maiden voyage for that broadcast is the Chiefs at home at Arrowhead against the Los Angeles Chargers. Thursday night, Nick, you mentioned a road game traveling before a short week. But to me, if you're going to do that, weeks 1 and 2 are the way to do it. You're fresher, you're healthier. Yeah. You're playing a division opponent, which you're a little bit more familiar with. And you got to think the Chiefs got a bad taste in their mouth after losing at home to the Chargers last year. Earlier in the season, so maybe there's a little bit of their division opponent, but maybe there's a little bit of extra juice for that game. We saw it with the Raiders beating the Chiefs at Arrowhead 2 seasons ago, and then came into Arrowhead this year and just got absolutely embarrassed, dominated by the Chiefs. Primetime game, first game for Amazon, which is kind of it's a weird thing the way these contracts are going with these networks, and you'll be able to watch the game on TV in Kansas City and in Los Angeles for the home markets, but got to have the Amazon to watch that game. It's kind of weird to think that there's NFL games that aren't, I guess ESPN Monday Night Football has been like that for a while, but Thursday night has always kind of been like, and also ran, like they put out the rummies there because I don't know if it was they didn't want the really good competitive teams playing the short weeks, what it was, but it seemed like Jags Titans or something was always the traditional Thursday night game. But with Amazon forking over some money and getting some exclusive rights there, you're seeing some more marquee matchups, which is interesting on these Thursday night games this year. What are you guys thinking, Bo? Thursday against the Chargers at home?
Going to that whole Amazon deal, I think it's like a test game to see how well like streaming sports do, like pay for streaming sports, right? Because I'm honestly of the opinion that that's kind of the future. TV is going to be a thing of the past. I feel like they're all going to move that way, dude. I feel like this is going to be like the first mover into the market, so to say. Like they're going to be the ones that are going to like, take all the hits, but they're also going to reap the biggest advantages of it. I bet you we're going to see crazy number of views and stuff. I think they have like Facebook numbers as far as like users of Amazon. I think there's like 1 in 6 people in the world have an Amazon account or something like that. Like
that's probably about right. You see their trucks all over the place.
maybe that's US, but it's a staggering number regardless. So I mean, a ton of people are still going to view it. Will they get TV numbers? We'll see, but I think they do. But yeah, I like this game. I like the idea of like getting that short week out of the way early. I think that's a good idea. My only concern is that like getting out there so quick might be a little injury prone. Guys might not get enough rest that week, and you know they're still hopped up on adrenaline. A lot of, like I said, a lot of young guys are going to be going 110%, way too fast. You know what I mean? So I just hope they can keep up their conditioning and stamina through the first couple of games.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't know. I think that the Thursday night games and then saying they care about player safety kind of is counterintuitive. I'm not a fan of the Thursday night games. If you look at like, you know, the number of division games the Chiefs have last, you know, however many years since Andy Reid's been there, I think over half of those games were Thursday night losses. Thursday nights are just kind of a weird. It's a weird game, right? It's always an odd game, so they're just kind of a wild card. As far as the Amazon Prime thing, I don't really understand. I mean, I know that I understand they're getting like a shitload of money, right? Amazon's just being like, here, we've got like billions and billions of dollars, so here's a bunch of money. I don't understand like limiting where people can access your product, though. Just fundamentally as like a business person, I think getting it in as many different places where people can view it as easily as possible is only going to be better for you. And so, you know, like the Royals, Scotty and I've talked about that here, you know, like the Royals, it's like, you got to get like you either have to have like the right package or you have to have like the Bally Sports app. And then like, I've got the app and then like the game freezes when it goes to commercial break and we're trying to, you know, like, I'm like, man, it's been on commercial for a while. And so then I like back out of it and go back into it. It's halfway through the inning. So I mean, I know they'll get bugs worked out and that, you know, streaming is probably going to be better, right? Because it's going to be on demand. You're going to get it on any device. I'm not arguing that so much. But it's really just like, dude, just like put your shit out there, like where everybody can see it in any way possible. Put it on YouTube, put it on Amazon. And I know that the companies don't really want that, right? They want that exclusivity. That way people have to buy my service. But ultimately, like it should be the customers. Because look, dude, like at the end of the day, I know I have an Amazon account, but I'm not going to buy a Bally Sports app, and I'm not going to buy like, you know, Paramount Plus and Disney and Netflix just so that I can watch in the NFL, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I'm not going to do it. And so ultimately, like you're going to have to pick and choose. And I don't know. I just think that they're going to have some stuff to figure out there before it's all done. As far as the game, I feel good about this game. We're going to be at home. I think the Chargers are overconfident. What's up, John? Thanks for
B.
I think the Chargers, you know, like Bo and I were talking a little bit beforehand. Did you see the video they put out of like their season release schedule, the animal thing? I mean, they're talking a lot of shit, man. And especially for a team that couldn't beat the Raiders to make the playoffs last year, like maybe make the playoffs with Justin Herbert before you guys talk about, you know, how badass you are. They didn't really talk any shit about the Chiefs, so I'll go a little easy on them there. But ultimately,
that was a great video, though, man. That was
great. But I mean, you better back that shit up, man, because like they pissed a lot of people off. The best part was where it said they had to remove the Browns one because that was the best part. But I got the Chiefs one in this one.
Yeah, I like playing the Chargers early. I like getting that, you know, getting them at home first. You can maybe, you know, put some distance on you, get a game in hand early. The NFL is king, and their popularity is so insane that I agree with the baseball take, obviously, but when you're talking about the NFL, it's infinitely more popular than Major League Baseball is. And it's, you know, a subscription like Amazon, like Bo was saying, 1 in 6 Americans or 1 in 6 people in the world or whatever have an Amazon account. It's still going to get a lot of views.
I think it's US, but yeah.
1 in 6 people in the US has an Amazon account. It's going to get views. So kind of interesting. Chiefs get the initial showing on there. They lured away the big guns too from Fox, right, to be the broadcasters for that deal. So that I'm not a fan of either of those guys, but they're
Yeah, me
supposedly
neither.
the big two or whatever. Troy Aikman, and
Buck.
I'm sure he's just sitting there marking the days off his calendar where he can drool over Justin Herbert and how much better, new Mahomes is than Patrick Mahomes. I'm not even going into that. So, yeah, week 2, the Chargers. Kind of an interesting game there Thursday night. Then following up, week 3 at Indianapolis. Another team with a winning record last season, but they couldn't beat the Jags to get into the playoffs week 18. Their quarterback, they've got Matt Ryan now, who I guess is better than Carson Wentz. But
it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
I don't know, man. I don't look at them as some fierce competitor. I don't look at this as a tough game. I think this should be an easy win. I don't think there's anything incredibly interesting about this game to talk about. To me, that should be an easy on the road. That's the other thing too. Is like these road games, you always want to look and see it. Which you play on the road, you're playing tougher competition or easier. You obviously, you would like to think that on the road you want to play a little bit weaker competition, the home field advantage. I'm not much to say about this game, is there really?
How's our run defense going to be? That's really the
right.
question.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
like that's what I'm thinking. I think that's the elephant in the room, right? James Taylor. Like, is he just going to be able to run all over us or not?
Right. Well, I hope they got James Taylor playing running back because he's about 65 years old now.
Sorry,
Jonathan Taylor.
The fuck's his name?
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor is the running back.
John.
Sorry, I don't know. When you said James Taylor, I started thinking like old hippie music there for some reason. I just not much to really talk about.
Been a long day, but dude, I don't know that if you look at the Colts last year, and granted, this isn't going to be the same team as they were last year, right? No team really is. They didn't get worse by adding Matt Ryan. I feel like they kind of stayed about the same. But dude, looking back at last year, they were a good team. They were a tough team that kind of had a run. Like they started off slow, but then they had a run where they put it all together. Their running was insane, and that's like I said, to me that's the question. So I think there is a little bit to talk about that. I don't think it's going to be like easy, but I do think the Chiefs are better than the Colts in all three phases of it. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be like just walk in there, score 40, and they're not going to do anything kind of thing.
Nick,
we'll see if they can control the clock, right? That's the deal with the run game is can they keep the Chiefs off the field? And also like we're going to have a lot of new pieces. So how quickly are the Chiefs going to figure this stuff out? I just tried to dunk and died. Sorry. I just saw this pop up. You didn't pull a Tom Segura, did you? Bo, have you seen that video of Tom Segura?
Oh, yeah. Did you just rupture your patella and break your arm in one go, John V?
Oh, look at his arm.
All right. John's a busy guy. So John V from our friend, our buddy over there at the Locker Room Rant, check out his show. He does it on Tuesday nights. It's funny shit, man. It really is. So,
oh, man. Last Tuesday was great.
Well, be interested to see what your take is on the Chiefs 49ers game here coming up in a couple games from now, John. So stay tuned in there. Yeah, I've been hearing this forever that I run the ball and control the clock to beat the Chiefs, and it never works. Like the way teams beat the Chiefs is score 35 points, and I don't see the Colts doing that.
I hope you're all right, bro.
All 911, man. Does your Apple Watch have like a fall thing?
But keep this stream running, but also try to call 911. Like if you have to cancel the
hold on to
stream,
that-
just wait it out. We'll be done in like 30 more minutes.
Yeah, let's hope John's all right, man. Maybe lower the rim down from 10 feet, John. Maybe move it down to 8 foot and see if that helps. I don't even know if I could dunk an 8-foot hoop. anymore these days. But yeah, that's. I don't know. Like we've been hearing that for years, and it doesn't work. So I don't know. Kind of a blah game to me. But you guys seem like you're a little bit more intrigued and a little bit more worried about it than I am. To me, that should be like an easy win.
I was worried
If the
about
Chiefs
it.
don't win that game, I'm gonna be massively disappointed.
I see the Chiefs winning that game. I just don't see it being like walk in the park. I mean, the Chiefs always have a knack for playing down to their opponent's level, regardless, or playing up to their level, whoever we're playing. And this is one of those teams that we do that with, man. We'll just match them regardless what. Like, I don't think it's going to just be walk into Indy, into their house and just be like, thank you very much. I mean, there's that possibility, but I don't see it being an easy win. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Did you see John V get you guys on tomorrow? Do a roundtable?
I might be able to do that.
Possibly. I'm in the middle of packing and moving right now. We could probably try to make something work, though.
Yeah,
We'll be in touch.
Oh, do you got till Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds cool.
Moving across country, no big deal.
I've never been on before.
We'll message about that after the show, John. That sounds cool. We appreciate that invite. That'd be a lot of fun to come on there with you guys. So, moving on, week 4.
Yes, sir. Right there.
At Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a Sunday night football game.
Yeah, it's a prime time. It's one of the 5 prime times.
Tom Brady, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You'll hear ad nauseum about it's a Super Bowl rematch. I hate it when it's not a Super Bowl rematch. It's not the Super Bowl. It's a week 4 fucking game 2 years later. Like, it drives me crazy when you see that. Then people will do the same thing. We're coming up here in a minute when we talk about the Chiefs 49ers. It's a Super Bowl rematch.
Bills.
No, it's not. That shit's so old now. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not a playoff game. It's not a Super Bowl game. At Tampa, Chiefs on the road. 2 weeks after, the Thursday night game, but you get a little extra rest after the home game, the opener against the Chargers at the Colts and at Tampa Bay. This is the 3rd of 4 games to start the season on the road, which I kind of referenced there at the beginning of the show. Tampa Bay, I'm going to say they got lucky in that fucking Super Bowl. Like the Chiefs were playing with
2 linemen.
Plumbers,
linemen.
Offensive line, and by the way, that just happens to be the Tampa Bay Bucks' strength was their defensive line and their pass rush. Oh, and of course, Tom Brady got the referees in his back pocket in that game. This is probably one of the tougher games to start the season. I don't know. You maybe say Chargers game is as tough as this game, but Chiefs are at home in that game. I like their odds a little bit better. This would have been a fun game to go to at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a cool place. I love going to Florida anyway. Not sure I'll be able to swing that if I make the Arizona trip. Hey, guys, what do you think about this prime time? Patrick Mahomes versus Tom Brady. Is this the last matchup of those 2 quarterbacks? Patrick Mahomes with a win would even his career record against Tom Brady. What do you guys think about this game? It's a primetime game. This is going to be one of the focal points of the early season games, in my opinion. Big game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that watching Tom Brady go from like a pudgy 6th round draft pick is a 22-year transition into one of the lizard people. It's very fun. But I don't know. Is Gronk back? I haven't heard. Is he?
I have not heard either.
Yeah, he's still on a party boat somewhere in the Caribbean. No AB, right? That's the train is
on
station. I feel pretty confident about this. I mean, look, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost. It is on the road, but I mean, we've that season we beat them pretty handily. They made a good effort at a comeback, but they never really had the ball with a chance to win at the end of the game. That was a game where Tyreek Hill exploded for 200 yards in the first quarter. I think that Mahomes is in his prime and Brady's not. And we've got more playmakers, I believe, with our upgraded offense. So I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. And screw the Bucks. I hate them. They got a home Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, man. I feel like this is gonna be our first real defensive test. Like, you better have all your knives sharpened and ready to come. You know what I mean? Like, it's Tom Brady. You're gonna be going up against the best, and like, you better have your defense on point. And it's if Spags can get these young guys going, man. Like, I think we're gonna do fine if we can have some speed and some guys that like to hit. That's all we were kind of really missing defensive wise. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough game regardless. I do agree with that. I just feel like if we were playing this game at home, it would be a lock win, right? But the fact that it's on the road and it's like you said, the 3 out of 4 road games to start out the season, I feel like our guys are just gonna be tired, man, and it might be like one of those embarrassing games for us. I hate to say it, dude. Like, Brady is the fucking man. If there are any holes that he's gonna have 3 weeks of tape to see, he'll expose it. And like I'm saying, that's why I'm just hoping. Like, I hope Spags can get our defense like to par to play against Brady. Otherwise, I just kind of feel like that might be our first guaranteed L, and it might be kind of an embarrassing one.
Yeah, it could turn out to be a tough game for sure. I still think the Chiefs are the better overall team. So we'll get there. That's week 4 at Tampa Bay. Damn, that'd be a fun game to go to. So
yeah, that would be a fun game to go to.
Yeah, John's talking about Brady.
Does he have one foot out the door? Like, I always kind of thought that the past 3 years, but then he always comes out and performs.
Yeah, and his luck is infinite, is endless, is evidenced by his career and just all of the things that go his way, starting with the Tuck rule against the Raiders.
Oh, that motherfucker. Did you see his video? That honesty video he came out with?
Yeah, I saw that.
What a masterclass troll, dude. Like, that's how you send the NFL world just spinning, dude.
Right. And it's the Raiders, so it was funny. Even funnier talking shit on the Raiders. But we'll get on here to week 5. Might have to speed it up just a little bit. We're at 30 minutes and we've only week 5. So speaking of the Raiders, Monday Night Football at Arrowhead versus the Raiders. A lot has been made about the Chiefs. This is the 5th consecutive game to start the season with an opponent with a winning record from the previous year. The Raiders were a playoff team last year, amazingly. They did win a playoff game. But to me, the Chiefs beat the Raiders by what? A combined 89 to 18 or something like last year. Derek Carr's okay, but they've got Devontae Adams now, but Derek Carr is not – no one's going to be mistaking him for Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Derek Carr is going to be winning MVP awards anytime soon. So
right. And unless I missed it, I didn't see them retool their offensive line, so it's not like Derek Carr is going to have any protection. Like, they have the same offensive line, unless I'm mistaken. Like, I don't see that team getting – sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, you're good. Just this should be a Monday night romp.
Yeah,
the Raiders.
Yeah, I completely agree, dude. We own the Raiders. Like, you know how you're talking like the switch in home teams and away games. Like, we still have another home game, dude. When we play the Raiders again in Las Vegas, because we just own them. That's going to be like a home game for us.
You mean they won that one game 2 years ago, guys?
Yeah. The Chiefs have got a ridiculous record against AFC West since Andy Reid got here at home, primetime game.
Yeah,
that should be. That like I said a second ago, that should be a romp.
Everybody's swinging from the Raiders because, like, they got Devontae Adams, obviously, right? They think they're going to be this stellar team, but like we've said this ad nauseum, like they still have Derek Carr throwing to them. Like, I just don't see them being this powerhouse that, like, Rich Eisen's predicting them to go number 1 seed, win the division, maybe even like Super Bowl shot. Like, they have a new coach. They have a new coach. They have, you know what I mean, Derek Carr. They got another edge rusher, but they had 2 great edge rushers before, so it's not like they like change anything that dramatically. I mean,
yeah.
Nick, what do you think?
I think the Raiders are a garbage team, and they're going to continue to be a garbage team, and it makes me really happy. So,
Yeah.
that's all I've got to say about that.
We're all in lockstep agreement there.
Yeah.
That should be a easy win. Coming back from long road trip there to start the season, followed up by another home game, Week 6 versus the Buffalo Bills. A little surprised this isn't a primetime game, but you can only have so many primetime games. There's only so many to go around. And the Chiefs have already played on Sunday Night Football and then Monday Night Football in back-to-back weeks. So this game here, Buffalo Bills, be interesting to see. I don't know, like I could see that game, that loss in the divisional round to the Chiefs being like a punch to the gut for that team this year. I know they've gone out and they're bringing back pretty much the same squad as last year, but they went through stretches last year in the regular season where they were not dominant. I mean, up until 3 or 4 weeks in the season, they were like the 7th seed in the AFC. Josh Allen, he's a good quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Cam Newton. I think he depends a lot on the legs and the running threat to be as effective. I don't think he's old enough or been in the league long enough for that to really have worn down or him to have lost that at this point in his career. But should be a good game. Maybe the Bills got a little bit of revenge on their mind after the 13-second debacle where the Grim Reaper was born and snatched their points. And I don't know that I'll ever attend a more exciting sporting event in my life than that game. It should be another, good game. You'd like to think that this is 2 of the top 3 teams in the AFC, if not the top 2 teams in the AFC, going at it. Nick?
Yeah. So did you see the video that the Bills released of their draft room in the first round when they were trying to move up and they were talking about how they wanted a quarterback, and then just the look on everybody's faces when they realized the Chiefs had traded with the Patriots in front of them and took their guy. I mean, I think that's pretty indicative of where the 2 franchises have been for the last few seasons. So I think that it's going to be a good game. They're a fine team. I have a lot of respect for them, especially after that playoff game. So, but I do see, I mean, they've got some big contracts that I think are going to start impacting their team. And we'll just see. I mean, it's just that, do they have that longevity to really keep going at it? And when you do that, almost going to the Super Bowl and then really getting blown out, right? We blew them out in that first AFC Championship game, and then to lose to the same team when you had them beat. I mean, I agree with Scott. That's they might be up for a letdown here, a little bit of a hangover after that. So. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
This has been the game I've been looking forward to the most, dude, because I know you guys were there, but watching that game and having watched football my entire life, that was honestly the best football game I've ever seen in my life. I mean, man, that was an exciting game. And then, Buffalo's coming with all of that revenge. They didn't forget at all. That's still so fresh in their mouth. They're coming with that much hate. The only good thing I like about this is like you said, it's the same team. It's going to be a hard game. Who knows who's going to win? If we do lose, I kind of feel like week 6, it's not going to matter to us. Buffalo's hopes and dreams are on this game, right? If they win this game, they feel like they have a shot at the Super Bowl. If we lose this game, we're in the same position we were last year. Okay, week 6, we got to make some adjustments, but we're fine, right? I don't feel like it's as big of a game for the Chiefs as it is for the Bills in that aspect, but I'm looking forward to seeing this, man. I'm looking like a retooled offense, and then just this matchup again. It's exciting. I agree with John B. This should have been prime time. I'm kind of surprised this wasn't the first game of the season. When they announced all the opponents, I'm like, yep, that's how they're going to start it off, right? And,
right.
I'm just
I could have seen that.
So,
I could have seen that. No, yeah. I mean, Bills beat the Chiefs in, what was that, week 4 at Arrowhead last year?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's possible. I'm going to give the edge to the Chiefs being at home always with Patrick Mahomes as well. So, interesting. I guess you could still say that's week 6. That's early to early mid part of the season showdown. 2 contenders there. After that, week 7, the Chiefs. You got every football fan says, yeah, that's a lot of fans were saying that was the best game played maybe ever. I'm sure you can go back through and find some pretty badass games, though. People get a little recency bias, but Chiefs are going to have to be ready for that game.
Spectacular.
So, I think they will. And, we talk about them losing, but I don't think they want to lose to the Bills at home twice.
2 years in a row, yeah.
2 years in a row, even though they did exact their revenge in that divisional round game where Mahomes reaped the soul that he owns from the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. Week 7
should be
at Santa Clara.
Locker room rant tomorrow.
we're taking on John V here, his San Francisco, Santa Clara 49ers, whatever you want to call them. Trey Lance, the rookie. Well, he won't be a rookie because he was a rookie last year, but it's kind of got that Mahomes thing going where he didn't play his first year. All expectations are he's going to be the starter going into next year. I'm not going to say the other quarterback's name out of respect for my good friend in the comments watching here, John V. I'm not going to say.
I can feel his blood pressure raising right now all the way here in Washington. I can feel it.
Right, yeah. We don't need him having a heart attack out there on the basketball court. So this is an interesting game. The 49ers are a good team. They were NFC Championship game last year. Close to making the Super Bowl. That was a fairly close game with the Rams. You just got to wonder, though, like the QB situation. What's he going to look like? Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, John. Maybe we'll save that for number 10. That's who I was not talking about. So it's another road game. That's the theme to start the season. The 49ers, their defense with some of the players that they've got, Nick Bosa, who everybody's familiar with, Joey Bosa from the Chargers, his brother, Nick Bosa, one of the top 2 or 3 edge rushers in the league. 49ers seem like they always have a good defense. They always have a good run game. Should be an interesting road matchup. I'm going to lean Patrick Mahomes' favor in a corner going against a first-year starter. Let's say that. He's not a rookie because he was technically on the team last year, and got some snaps. But how do you guys see this game, the 49ers? What do you think? John, I'd like to know what you think.
Yeah, John, comment too. Is Trey Lance the starter for sure? Because if he is, I mean, I feel like it's going to be like a retooling season for San Francisco, right? It could be interesting. I feel like a lot of the hopes and dreams are pinned on Trey Lance's back. And if he can't perform, I feel like they're going to put that guy on a stake real quick, man, and blame everything. It's a lot of pressure for the guy. Like it's mainly up to if he can handle all that pressure. Right. I think the kid's got the talent. He's awesome. He's quick. He's fast. He can throw darts, but look at the pressure. Look what the pressure did to Mahomes last year, right? Like it was visibly noticeable. And like that same kind of pressure is going to be on that kid's back this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, on top of having a new coordinator, right? So I believe it was their coordinator that went to Miami to coach the Dolphins. So you're coming into your first year as a starter. Now I know that Kyle Shanahan, he's a offensive minded coach. They're not going to probably be changing all their terminology and all that stuff, but just a little bit of changeover on the coaching staff there, maybe at a not great time. But they're a really good defensive team. So it's really just going to be the wild card. How is he going to play? I mean, is he going to be good, or is he going to be like that other guy that we're not going to name?
He's not the name.
But
I agree with John V. He's going to start. You don't trade up and trade away all the capital that the 49ers traded.
a
few drafts ago to get a guy and then sit him for 2 years. You don't do that.
At that point.
almost half of his rookie contract if you do that. I mean, he's going to play. He's going to be the starter. So that's an interesting matchup. John B can't wait. I can't wait either.
Can't wait.
We might have to make some sort of wager on that game, John. I don't know. We got some time to figure that out, but that looks to be one of the more intriguing early season games because you just really don't know what you're going to give the 49ers and the new quarterback. And their defense and their run game is always formidable and always a test. So interesting to see what goes there. Week 8 is the bye week, right?
Yeah.
I like that. Mid-season.
Perfect.
You always see coaches, too, and teams talk about how they would rather have the bye, closer. They complain if you get it too early, if you get it too late. That's as close to the middle as you can get with the uneven schedule, all the road games, all the traveling. I mean, that's the other thing, too. We talk about playing on the road, but Arizona, that's pretty far travel. Tampa Bay, that's pretty far travel. San Francisco, that's a good travel game. The Chiefs are playing on the road a lot in the first half of the season, and they're not exactly like Tennessee and Minnesota or something, Denver, closer travel. I mean, they're going to the coasts. They're going to be putting the miles on the old jet there. Comes at a great time, week 8. To me, there's a lot has been made about I'll get to that point when we get to week 9 because that's really where it breaks. But I don't think you guys are going to argue with me much there about it.
No. The only thing I would say, I don't mind it at all. I kind of prefer a later bye week, especially with the longer season, just to keep players, fresh or like less injury prone later in the season. But I agree with everything you just said, dude. It's perfect. I mean, you can't have everything, So right in the middle is good with me too. I like week 8.
Really, the only super favorable thing about this schedule, except maybe having some more home games later in the season, right? You start out 3 or 4 on the road. We have a stretch where we have 3 road games, back to back. I mean, at least we have a favorable bye. It's not like, one of those week 5, week 6 bye weeks. It's just too early in the season, really. So,
yeah, sure. Yeah, no doubt. Week 9, the Chiefs kind of start a stretch of being back at home at Arrowhead against the Tennessee Titans, another playoff team from last year with a winning record. Obviously, that was our worst loss of the year last year was at Tennessee. This is a home game, but they lost A.J. Brown, which I think, and Derrick Henry is another year older coming back from injury. Ryan Tannehill to me is a guy that is good, but he's not upper echelon. Be interesting to see what the Titans do. They played a fairly easier, division with the Jaguars, and maybe the Colts jump up. You guys were giving them a little bit more respect than I was earlier when we were talking about the Chiefs matchup with them. But I don't know what the Tennessee Titans to me are a good team. I think they come back there. If they were the 1 seed and lost, at home in the first round of playoffs last year. So maybe that hurts the psyche a little bit. Maybe Derrick Henry. Maybe there's some tread worn off the tires there at this point. Lost A.J. Brown. Offense, that can't help. To me, that's like the Chiefs losing Tyreek Hill. I mean, you lost. I would rather lose Derrick Henry probably than A.J. Brown if I'm the Titans, but just because I think wide receiver position is harder to find elite guys than at running back.
Yeah, and look what they did last year without Derrick Henry.
I mean, do you think the Tennessee Titans are a 1 seed caliber team again this coming season, or you think you see a drop off of them? What do you think about this game?
I'd see a drop off coming. Derrick Henry's another year older. Ryan Tannehill, he just ain't it. I think they reached their ceiling at an AFC Championship game. I'd be very surprised to see them make it that far in the playoffs again. They have a good coach. They're a well-coached team. So, they beat the brakes off of us last year in the regular season. But lot of that was AJ Brown, right? It was, I mean, he torched us. Now he's not on the team. Now they did get a first round wide receiver, I think. So it'll probably be, up to them to see. Maybe a little bit of locker room weirdness going on with Ryan Tannehill openly stating that he's not there to, there to be a mentor to the younger quarterback. I don't know what that does to the work environment outside of it, but their coach will probably handle that shit out. But I think that they've peaked, and I think that you'll start to see them fall off now. That's my opinion until they get a better quarterback. I mean, Tannehill's good, but he's not great in this league. You need a great quarterback.
No, I echo what Scott was thinking. Like, it fascinates me that they put all their money on Derrick Henry versus AJ Brown, because when Derrick Henry was hurt last year, AJ Brown, like, he was that team, right? And look how good they got. They got to the number 1 seed without Derrick Henry, and they put Derrick Henry back in, and it all went to shit. So, like,
I think they brought him back a little too early.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we talked about that with Joe Valerio when we had him on our podcast, right? Like, bringing him back too early, and they said, he's probably going to bring him back too early because he's the ace, right? But like you mentioned the tread on the tire statement. I think he's just had too many miles, man. Like, you can only run a running back so many times. You can only take so many hits, man. And I don't think, we're already seeing him. He's getting injury prone. Like, I just don't think he's going to be the same dominant force. And to get rid of your wide receiver at that time, it didn't make sense to me. So I like this game now, right? Granted, they kind of drafted a receiver that what they say is like AJ Brown incarnate, right? Like, they're trying to say that it's him, but like that's hard to say, right?
Crapshoot, man. It's just a crapshoot.
Exactly. It's a bet. They're betting that he does. I mean, he's probably really good. I don't know, but like, I don't think you give up on proven talent like that. So I think the Chiefs easily kind of take this game.
It's a little bit of a similar situation with Sky Moore and Tyreek Hill. I mean, you're excited about Sky Moore, but to expect him to come in and be Tyreek Hill, I mean, not to say he can't, but the odds are against it. And
right,
the odds of
right.
drafting another guy as good as AJ.
A hell of a bet to make.
Yeah, I mean, the chances of them drafting another guy that's as good as AJ Brown are pretty slim. So that wraps up. Henry, it's like your junior high backpack. You stuffed every book until you avoid your locker eventually. Straps tear at the seat. That's a good analogy, John. I like that.
You're just dragging it down the hallway to your next class.
That's what John B is bringing to the show right there, folks. That's good stuff. I like that. That's a unique, interesting way to look at it. Before we get into Week 10, just real quick, so a lot is being made right now that the Chiefs are the first team in the history of the NFL to play 9 straight games to open a season against teams with winning records from the previous season.
Yeah.
To me, I would rather play those teams early. You're healthier, hopefully. Let's put it this way. The odds are in your favor of being healthier and fresher early in the season to play the tough competition. And more of the tougher games, like the Chargers and the Bills and the Titans, those are home games. You're kind of catching a break with some of the road games against the Colts. The Cardinals, that's an NFC team anyway. That's a game, if you drop that or the Niners game, doesn't really hurt you with seeding too much, tiebreakers and things like that down the road going into the playoffs. So I'm not looking at it as tough. And when you look at, like I said, the Colts had a winning record, but I don't think they're some juggernaut. The Raiders had a winning record, but they're not some juggernaut. I don't think the Cardinals are some juggernaut. So I think that's being like overstated and overplayed a little bit by fans and by media, just how tough the start of the schedule is.
In my opinion, the second half of the schedule is way harder than the first half.
There's an argument that can be made there, and we'll wrap that up when
we still got Russell Wilson twice coming up. Yeah, I mean, and you said it earlier about the Super Bowl teams, right? It's not like year to year, it's not the same team. Yeah, you see teams that rise and fall every year. And so you really don't know. But what we do know is, like, Patrick Mahomes has been to 4 straight home AFC championship games, and he went to 2 Super Bowls. Like, do you think he gives a flying fuck about a 9-8 team or a 10-7 team? I mean, it's not going to phase them, right? It's going to be tough, but the league has a lot of good teams now. There's a lot of really good teams, and so it's just going to be. I mean, like all those guys are looking at their schedule and thinking, "Oh shit, we got to play the Chiefs," right? I mean, like
For sure.
So it's
Every
just
team thinks that for sure. Oh fuck, we
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
beat the Chiefs.
none of those 9 teams were looking at that game against the Chiefs saying, "Oh, that's a win." You know,
Right.
like. Um,
well, John
just
B.
real quick
mentioned.
before, just real quick before we get into the second half of the schedule here, what are you guys thinking? What do you think the Chiefs' record is after these first 9 daunting, grueling games and the road trips?
It's 8, right?
Well,
Yeah, it's
9
eight
against
with, a,
Tennessee.
8 with a bye week.
Well, I'm going because Tennessee wraps up the 9 straight to start against teams with winning records. So, what do you think it is after week 9? Like, what do you think the record is?
6-2.
Yeah, 6-2, 5-3. I can see us dropping a stupid game, just figuring stuff out. But
I'd be disappointed. I'd be disappointed if they're not 7-1. Honestly, I don't. I'm not gonna be mad if they're 6-2, but I'll be worried if they're 5-3. If I'm being honest, I don't think that's gonna happen though. I look at them as being that 6-2, 7-1. See, John B, he's saying 7-1.
Had a boy jump V.
I
Beat you week 7. Hey, if we only lose to the
I guess I
49ers in that 9-week stretch, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them dropping, depending on what Trey Lance looks like in the defense line.
Right.
I could see them maybe losing one of those 2 games against the Cardinals/Niners, and then maybe you lose a game like to the Bills or something. But I don't see it. I think they're 7-1 after week 9 myself. Then week 10.
Yep.
That's
There's
basically like getting 2 bye weeks in 3 weeks. Home game against the Jags. I don't think we need to spend a lot of time talking about that. They're a mess. They've got a former kicker suing the team because the former coach kicked them in practice or something. I like the quarterback there, but it was surprising to me. And you see teams do this in the draft every year. And this is why the teams at the top of the draft always pick at the top of the draft. You went out and you got your generational talent franchise quarterback, and then you draft linemen with top picks instead of weapons.
Yeah.
Go draft. I understand they want to protect them, and so maybe you give them a little bit more leeway there and understand the early pick with the linemen. But then you had another pick later in front, and you didn't pick a playmate. Man, give the dude some weapons. To me, this is
too close to home, dude. When we drafted Eric Fisher, just kind of like, what?
Right. But there wasn't a lot in that draft. I'll give us that. I mean,
but again, take your shot at the quarterback, and they've got the quarterback in Jacksonville now. They think anyway. They took the shot last year's number 1 overall pick. Now,
we have two people called 7-1. Sorry to interrupt. Doug's commenting here, and Nick and I are a little bit more pessimistic with 2 losses.
Yeah, I just think 7-1 is doable, honestly.
Yeah, completely. I do too.
We'll
I just
see.
wouldn't be surprised at 2 or 3 losses.
Yeah. They say there's any given Sunday. That's why they play the games. You can't just roll your helmet out there and win the game. There's no sure things in the NFL. This is a sure thing. The Chiefs are winning week 10 at home against the Jaguars.
Bet your money on the Chiefs for that week.
Right. I mean, I can see the Chiefs being like a 10 or 11 point favorite in that game. So, moving on, week 11, the away contest against the Los Angeles Chargers. Last year, we all remember the comeback and the Travis Kelce beast mode calling game play in overtime. Man, I'm just like picturing that play in my head right now. It's just I'm smiling ear to ear.
That was the game we did the emergency podcast after.
Yeah, that was
reeling from that game.
Yeah, we did the emergency break glass in case of emergency show. It was so much fun, so exciting. Prime time in LA, ripped their hearts out. they thought they had us and they didn't, and then they went on to lose a game. I want to say to the Texans the week after that or 2 weeks after that, basically sealed the division for the Chiefs. I know Russell Wilson went to the Broncos and he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and we'll be getting into their matchups here pretty quick. But I still look at the Chargers as the prime competition for the division, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I agree. Until proven otherwise, right? I mean, until you see the Broncos and what they're going to be.
Yeah,
you don't know.
One thing I'm going to say about this game is like it's the start to our next kind of brutal home or away game stretch, right?
Yeah,
and the only thing I'm going to say to that is Mahomes in cold weather away games or just late in the season games, he has a phenomenal record. So
he does.
I like the Chiefs in that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we split with the Chargers, right? They're a really good team. So it just really, like, here's where you're getting into the war of attrition, as they say, right? So how healthy are both teams going to be? Is Herbert going to progress? How's our, there's just like so many unanswered things here. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we dropped one against them. But I mean, with our record against the AFC West, I wouldn't be surprised if we won both. But I would be shocked if we got swept, right? So that's.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening. I guess
their coach just goes for it too much on fourth down, and it loses them games.
It does. It does.
You think he keeps that same mentality this year? I was actually going to bring that up. You think that coaches, specifically the Chargers coaches, stick to their guns on fourth down, even though it failed miserably for him last year?
I don't see him changing it. That's what got him the job, right? I mean, that's his mindset. That's his philosophy. You don't very often see coaches change their philosophies. They've gotten to where they've gotten by doing what they've done. But yeah, this is a game I could see the Chiefs, losing. Obviously, if I was sitting down going through game by game, picking wins, losses, this is probably a game I'd mark down as a loss. I'd take a split with the Chargers. No shame in that at all. On the road, you'd like to, win the home game and then give yourself a chance at the sweep. Unlike last year where you had to go on the road and come back in overtime to avoid being swept. But yeah, this is a good game, tougher game. We're starting to get into the later end of the season. Khalil Mack has never had so not much changes. Yeah, I agree with that. Right. So, and Khalil Mack ever since he left the Raiders and went to the Bears, he was good. He wasn't great. I mean, he hasn't had double-digit sack season since then, and he's had injuries.
Yeah, he was hurt.
Everybody was acting like they got Bruce Smith or Lawrence Taylor. And he's good. He's not that good, So that's a game that you could Chiefs lose. You wouldn't probably be too upset about that, but you definitely win would be key.
Not at 7-2, I wouldn't be too upset.
No, hell no, definitely not. Week 12, Chiefs return home to play the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Their team that had some rough patches last year, obviously put it together at the right time. They got lucky playing the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I'm just going to say it. I know the Bengals beat the Chiefs twice last year. How that happened, it's one of the more perplexing.
The Chiefs twice.
Man. The Chiefs, you realize they blew 18-point leads in both those games they lost to the Bengals. And the Rams, they didn't look all spectacular in that Super Bowl. It was a very blah, two good teams going at it there in that Super Bowl. The Rams, you usually don't see the Super Bowl hangover coming for the winning team. But this game's at home. I would expect the Chiefs to win this game. What are your thoughts on playing the defending champs? Bo?
I'm very thankful we're playing them at home, right? I feel like that's what's going to give us an advantage, have that stadium rocking. I mean, Arrowhead's just a tough place to play at for anybody coming against the Chiefs, right? Like there's just that atmosphere. It's palpable when you're in there. You can feel it in your chest. The fans doing the chant, and just it's such a cool stadium that I'm glad that we're playing them at home, because if this was again in LA, it'd be one of those games. Just like, I don't know, man. I don't see us winning this one. But the Rams are stacked, dude. Like, they are so stacked. They still There's talking about still bringing Odell back. They have all the same guys as last year, pretty much, except what's his nuts, Von Miller.
Yeah.
I don't see them like being like a repeat Super Bowl running team, but I still see them being really good. But being at home, I think we just got the better team though. I think the Chiefs are better than the Rams overall. I'm just so curious to see what our offense is this year, man. Like, it's so hard to like sit here and predict all this stuff because like this could be 12 weeks in with a newly tooled offense. We could just be firing on all cylinders like we were hoping for last year, and that never really came to. And like that could happen this year, and I'm just excited to see what we bring out. But this game specifically, I think we have the edge.
Yeah, I got my eye on this game. I'm looking forward to this game. At this point,
Nick?
Yeah, no. By this time, we will know what we are as a team. Hopefully, our younger defenders are starting to gel and or have gelled and are putting it together. And really that's going to be the story, right? I agree, John V. This is like a pick'em game, right? It's like a toss up. So it's just going to come down to it. But if we can look, guys, we put a lot of draft capital into our defense, and if we can have close to the same offense that we had, I know we lost Tyreek Hill, but we did upgrade in several other places at receiver, right? If we can have close to the same productivity on offense, and we can get better on defense, like I like us against any team in the league. I mean, how many times have we said it? Scott, you were putting some stats together about like the losses that this team has had since Mahomes has been quarterback, and did you tell me that they've lost 16 games, including playoffs, and half of those games they scored 31 or more points?
Right.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, so if our defense is playing better, then I like us in this game. But I mean, would it surprise me if we lost to the LA Rams super team, defending Super Bowl champions? I mean, I wouldn't be shocked, right? I mean, I'm not going to bet my life savings on it, but I feel like we have a really good coach. We have a better quarterback. Stafford is a great quarterback, but Mahomes is better. I mean, he's better at winning, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, Stafford also makes bad decisions and should have cost. There's a few games that he could have cost him at the end of last season, and they don't win the division, and maybe their season ends up differently. But and maybe you could say that about every team. Being at home, I like our odds. I like the Chiefs in that game. So one of the more marquee, bigger games, tougher games probably on the schedule, though, Week 12 against the Rams. We're lucky to have that. Another game where you're playing the tough competition, but you're at home, like the Bills. You're playing them at home.
It wouldn't surprise me, right?
It's entirely possible. I think he's better than people give him credit for, but he does leave you scratching your head sometimes. No doubt about that. Week 13 at the Cincinnati Bengals. I want to win this game so bad by so many points.
This is like when we were talking about the Buffalo game. This is like what I feel like. I'm a Buffalo fan on this game, though. Just like I want this one bad.
At Bengals. I've never been to Cincinnati. I might have to make a trip up there for this game. I don't. They've worked on their offensive line, which was their weakness last year, and I don't. It's hard to know what to think of Joe Burrow because the guy looks good, but he also I don't think looks as good as everybody says he does. I mean, he doesn't have these eye-popping numbers. He doesn't. I don't. I don't. That maybe they've gotten better. It's entirely possible though the Super Bowl hangover. You see that with a lot of times with teams that lose the Super Bowl, maybe overachieve a little bit and make the Super Bowl. Well, I want to win this game bad. Bad.
I'm with you, dude. I've never thought Joe Burrow was good. I thought Cincinnati drafted him to try and kill him because the first year they played him, they didn't protect him at all, and like he got hit like I think 11 times a game or something like that. Like I thought they were just trying to end that kid's career so they could get a different quarterback. But he came back around and he did stuff for him. But like I'm with you. I just he's never looked sharp. He's never looked like extremely athletic. He's just how many touchdowns did he have last year that were just Hail Marys to Jamar Chase? Probably like half of them. Like obviously the exaggeration, but like that's what it was. You just Hail Mary and like I don't know why defenses would never double team him, but That's what
Yeah.
the Bengals were to me, and it's so much luck, and then the refs. Like, don't get me wrong, I still remember those games. Like, it is what it is, but the refs affected that game and blatantly, in my opinion. So, I want this one.
And Spags leaving Jamar Chase one-on-one on 3rd and 25 or whatever it was. The rest of it pushing off, we will win. Yeah, no, for sure. I don't get why the guy gets away with it the way he does. I think the league likes him. I think they like the LSU, the Joe Burrow, the Jamar Chase connection. So maybe they look the other way a little bit more for those guys. But Nick, what do you think about the Bengals? I mean, it's so hard. Like, you want to sit here and say the Chiefs are better than the Bengals. They lost to them twice last year. I mean, I'd be pissed off if the shoe was on the other foot and we'd beat them twice last year, and you got lucky and we're better than you. I'd be like, we beat you twice, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? So I just cannot sit there and look at the Bengals and think they're better than the Chiefs. I just don't. Nick, I mean, am I wrong there? Or?
No. I mean, we blew both of those games.
Yeah,
we blew both of those games, and I mean, I guess if it happens twice, we could say whatever, but. I mean, are they going to act like they didn't get down 18 points in the AFC Championship game, come out flat, and just luckily we have our defense just was a turd and let them come back and win. And, Mahomes had a terribly off half, right? I mean, and there's just – I want to bury him. I mean, that's what I want to do is I want to bury him. I don't think they're that good. I think that if we had, any sort of rushing attack that could get to them, then we're not even talking about this game. We're like, yeah, remember that team we kicked the shit out of twice last year? Like, I mean, I just really feel that way. So we just hopefully our defense is playing better and we can get to the quarterback. That was the story of that game is like, we just could not sack him, and everybody else could. Inexplicably, we couldn't get to him. We got Chris Jones, and we got Frank the Shark Clark, and all those guys, and nobody can freaking get to him. So, So I mean, I just hope we win. I hope we win big, and I hope they have a Super Bowl hangover and they don't go to the playoffs for another 30 years. How about that?
Yeah, this is what I was saying a little bit ago, man.
I'm a little sour about last year because that would have been.
We all are.
So.
But yeah, John's comment there, like, dude, after 7 weeks, we'll know what kind of offense we have. It'll be a much clearer picture about what this game's going to be. That's for sure.
Yep, and it'll be interesting to see if our new cornerback can match up with a guy like Jamar Chase, right?
Mm-hmm.
See how good he is at not getting shoved to the ground.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Week 14, moving on to the Denver Broncos, Denver Donkeys, whatever you want to call them. I don't even know what their stadium's called anymore, Sports Authority or whatever. They went out of business. But
Mile High. That's what it always is to me.
Yeah, the Denver is just – they went out, they made the splash trade, got Russell Wilson, Super Bowl winning quarterback. Let Russ cook, all this stuff. Who's he going to throw the ball to, though? I don't
exactly.
I don't know. But then again, the Broncos. I mean, the Chiefs have beaten the Broncos like 13 straight games, but a lot of those were close games, and they had Teddy Bridgewater out there, so maybe he makes that big a difference. I don't know. I really don't know what to think of the Broncos coming into this season. Playing them later, it's week 14 out of 19 weeks, playing twice in 5 weeks, basically. With the return game is the season finale there. But what do you think about just your thoughts, real quick, on the Broncos with Russell Wilson, Nick?
Everybody's talking like they're Super Bowl favorites, which is odd. It's how we haven't even seen them play once, right? I have a lot of respect for Russell Wilson as a quarterback. I think that he is a magician, or was a magician. But we also saw last year some of that sheen start to come off. getting a little slower, getting, some of the things where he would have escaped turns into sacks. So he's going to have to start to retool his game. I don't know, like, do the Broncos, do they get a new coach this year? Or they seem like they have a new coach every year.
Yeah, they're going to have a new coach.
A new coach. He's coming into a new system. The only thing I will say is that we have beat Denver, for 6.5 years straight now. But it seems like it's getting harder every single time. So it's really hard to beat a team twice. And so it's really, really, really hard to beat a team 14 times in a row. And this would be the 14th time in a row that we beat them.
Well, it's going to be really nice when we do.
Yep. No, yeah, no. I'm not saying we're going to lose. I'm just saying that it becomes more and more challenging to beat your rivals that many times in a row.
Yeah.
So that's really all I think about the Denver Donkeys. I don't really think about them outside of that. So.
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse too much, but there's two things. To me, this is like walking into Vegas. You go to the craps table and you see it's all black. You're like, I'm going to go bet red, right? Like, we beat them 13 times. I mean, at some point, the stats got to flip, right? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. We were saying that after the 8th and the 9th and the 10th.
Some people lose a lot of money at the craps table doing that, or the roulette table. I said craps. It's the roulette table. But a lot of people lose money that. I mean, it could go black for a long time. The only thing that worries me about this game, right, is that if this was the Chargers game week 2, it would be an easy win, no doubt about it, right? It would be no question. My only worry is that it's 14 weeks in with Russell Wilson. Something tells me the Broncos are going to have their shit together a little bit. And so what Nick's saying, it's just going to be that much harder to beat them. I don't see us losing to them, but hey, it's any given Sunday. It's a division rival.
Right.
Could happen, but I think we can beat them both games this year.
So,
yeah, I'll take that. Week 15, that's as close to a week 15 bye as you can get there at Houston Texans. There's not really much to talk about this game. The Texans are a disaster. They traded away Deshaun Watson and then selected an offensive lineman with the 3rd overall pick. I just don't. These teams that pick these linemen in these top 5, top 10, man, I just don't get it. That's not really much to say
you
about that.
trade away Deshaun Watson and you don't go quarterback.
I don't know, man. I guess the overall thinking is that this is a weak quarterback class.
Right.
I mean, I would have, if that's the thinking, I'd go get a top receiver.
You can get another one next year.
Suck for another year and then get a better quarterback next year. I mean, they're going to be picking in the top 2 or 3 next year. They're not turning.
Scott already said it, man. There's a reason these teams have high picks every year, man. Moves like that, right?
Right. Yeah. That's a sure thing there. So
yeah, not
week
too much.
16, playoff push. Seahawks at home. That to me, that's like getting 2 gimmies coming down the stretch at Houston.
Yeah, that's huge.
And Seahawks with Drew Lock at quarterback. We've seen what Drew Lock did in Denver. I think the Seahawks are obviously in rebuild mode. Their defense isn't anywhere close to what it was when it was, the Legion of Boom or whatever they called themselves, and we're going to the Super Bowl. That's an easy win. Yeah, Seattle's butt dust. You're right there, John. That's one of their arch rivals there. I mean, the Seahawks, that's kind of like the Raiders, right? The Seahawks to the Niners, kind of like the Raiders to the Chiefs. That to me is an
most
easy
hated.
win.
Yeah.
Kind of a yawn, blah game.
Who's Seattle's running back? I'm drawing a blank right now. I can't remember who the running back is.
They got Rashad Penny still.
Penny, yeah, okay, yeah.
The other guy got. Yeah, and they still got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, but
yeah,
they got.
Yeah, what if Drew Lock just tears it up with those 2 guys? Just I just need somebody. I don't see it, but
I don't see it either. I don't see it, but so yeah, a couple of you'd like to think easy wins coming down the stretch towards the playoffs, seeding, things like that are starting to become bigger and bigger. More you're getting a look at the playoff picture. anything you want to talk about? That's December 24th. That's Christmas Eve game too. So, anything more you want to say about that game?
Hometown kid at quarterback. I mean, like I can feel a little bit more okay about hoping he has some success since he's from the Kansas City area. Seems like a good kid. That would suck to grow up a Chiefs fan and then get drafted by the freaking Broncos. So I don't wish him too much success because I'm not a fan of the Rainy City Bitch Pigeons any more than anybody else. They were the team that was like so bad they got kicked out of the AFC West and the AFC. Had to go to the NFC, right? Like during the realignment. So they're like, which team out of this division just doesn't matter? And they're like, yeah, it's the Seahawks. Just kick them out. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to suddenly turn the corner, right? I mean, but
neither do I.
Yeah, I mean, if they said for sure he's going to be the starter, I know they traded him to him, but
I don't know who else would be.
Yeah.
They're in rebuild mode. Maybe
Right.
this is like maybe it's a tank year for them to get a better spot for next year. I know NFL teams say they don't do that, but if they don't, they're dumb. So
Yeah,
I can see him having more success there than in Denver, though.
yeah, I mean, I'm not saying this is like a gimme, but it should be an easy win. Chiefs should win that game. There's I don't
I agree.
80%, 85% chance of winning this game. So I expect them to be big favorites at home. Week 17, we're getting back into the stretch here. This is get the return match at home against the Denver Donkeys. We kind of just talked about them, so this is a game the Chiefs should win. Division game at home, be a big game, especially if you're battling it out with them or the Chargers. Division record's a tiebreaker for division championship seeding, things like that. So it's a good game there. I expect them to win. I'm not expecting a lot from Denver, though, honestly.
Yeah, again, it's just going to see how they are, man. After we play on that first time, see if they're even a team. It's week 17 so far out. It's hard to tell. Like we'd like to think we're going to win, but who knows? I mean, to me, it's just like Russell Wilson's just such a big question mark, right? Like, does he add what every analyst is saying he adds to the Broncos? Because we kind of glossed over it. I don't know what he's going to do, man. Like, he didn't do shit with Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf, and he's going to a worse team without Noah Fant, who was their stud tight end that saved Denver's ass. Yeah. So it's such a.
He was their best receiver.
I don't know.
Last year, Noah Fant was. I mean, he was the best pass catcher for the Broncos, and he's gone now.
He was a part of that trade package, right? Or is he just gone?
Maybe he can unlock Jerry Jeudy, who was one of the top, if not the top, wide receiver prospects in his draft class from Alabama. Maybe they can build a connection there, and they're a little bit more dangerous than we've thought. But yeah, Doug's right. I mean, he's past his prime for sure. He doesn't have that elusiveness. He was one of the most sacked quarterbacks last year. Was Russell Wilson, so makes them better, marginally better, in my opinion. So
who had
game coming down the stretch?
Who had the worst social media leak video of their quarterback, the Broncos or Miami?
Yeah, they're bad.
They look so terrible, right? Like, look at this pass from Russ. It's like a duck flying through the air.
Right.
That's what you guys are putting out there on the internet? All right.
Are you and then the Tyreek one or the Dolphins, are you talking about the one where Tyreek had to stop and turn around and wait for the ball?
Yeah.
From Tua?
Yeah, and
it's
every response is 10 yards short. That was short. That was
the social media guys were like, well, I mean, that was the best one that we had.
Yeah. Someone put out on there, it was like, guarantee you Tyreek Hill will be regretting leaving and missing Patrick Mahomes by week 4. And I replied back, shit, he'll be missing them by the end of training camp. He'll be regretting that decision. So, the second to last game, week 18.
TBD, but it's against
at the Raiders. Chiefs' second home, Las Vegas.
Our last home game.
Undefeated there, baby. Never lost in that stadium.
There's your warm game, Scott, deep in the end of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. With the tougher schedule, maybe this isn't the – and the Chiefs had to play the final game of last year. They had something to play for as opposed to the previous 2 or 3 seasons. So I don't know if they'll be in a position where they don't need to play their starters or anything, but if you're going to be playing a division opponent on the road to end the season, that's the division opponent you want to be playing.
Yeah.
I expect the Chiefs to sweep the Raiders again this year.
Yeah, same.
I know the Devontae, but how many times is like a good player gone to the Raiders and they got this guy. Oh, they got this guy. The Raiders look up and they suck. Tua throws ducks. He's accurate, but he just don't have the arm, man. And he doesn't have the strong arm. So that was his knock coming out of college and the hip injury.
I just saw this comment. Sorry, Russ looks like he threw two.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I expect Chiefs to win this game,
All right,
especially if they need, especially if there's a division championship or playoff seeding on the line. I don't see the Chiefs losing it.
So John V here, he said we start out 7-1, and he thinks we're gonna lose 5 out of the next 9 games.
Dude, I mean it's not that far-fetched. We have a tough stretch there, dude. I mean, basing it off of like the team's performance last year, right? Obviously, they're not going to be the same teams this year, but like we're playing the Bengals, the Rams, the two teams that are in the Super Bowl. We're playing the GOAT. We're playing, you know what I mean? Like we're playing so many good teams. Like
he said we already won. He said we already won against Brady. That's a foregone conclusion. That's all I'm saying. Is like, you think we start out 7-1 and lose 5 of the next 9?
Yeah. Let's hope not. Let's hope John B's wrong there. But so what are you guys? I mean, I know there's still a lot of time left, but I mean, we're past the draft now. I mean, the only thing that's left is training camp. What would you predict the final record for the Chiefs 2022 season is? Bo?
13-4, 12-5. Sorry, I got a phone call. Sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry.
I'm usually wrong.
Hey, John.
Costanza, go against your instincts, John.
Yeah.
I think 12-5, 13-4. That's what I'm picking, right? I mean, I think that.
Which one are you picking?
Which losses?
No. Which one? You said 2 predictions.
I'll go 13-4. Unfortunately, though, I think 2 of those losses are going to be divisional opponents. I think we're going to split with the Chargers and the Broncos this year.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. You're good. Nicky's going 13-4.
13-4. Okay.
What are you feeling?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think that's what I said. I was thinking 12-5 or 13-4, like somewhere in there. Like I see us dropping a couple games just with such a new offense. We're gonna have like such a crazy new scheme. I'm hopeful that Andy Reid's gonna be able to like have a lot of fun with it and be successful with it. But young guys figuring out such a complex scheme, I could see us dropping a couple. And then, like I said earlier, like having to play such good, talented quarterbacks with a young defense, that's kind of my worry, and that's why I'm giving them, those losses there. But I still see a winning season. I see playoffs. I don't see number 1 seed. I don't think that needs to be a mission. You know what I mean? I think we can do just fine once we make the playoffs. We were talking about earlier, all these teams like the Chiefs, like it just sucks to play the Chiefs. Like that'd be cool in the wild card round. Like what? We have to play the Chiefs in the wild card round, and like, yeah. So I mean, just as long as we get in the playoffs, like I think that should be like our main focus for this young team.
Yeah, ask the Steelers how playing the Chiefs in the wild card round went last year. That's especially if you're talking about like you're a 2 seed or something. You're playing the 7. You're playing a team that shouldn't be in the playoffs, which is almost as good as a bye. I think Nick Wright said it was better than a bye. Like playing if you're the 2 seed playing that 7-seeded playoff team, he's like it's better than a bye because you're going to have your starters out late in the game and you're playing a non-playoff team really, and you're also staying fresh. You don't have to worry about the rust of sitting and taking the week off, which a lot of people feel maybe hurts teams sometimes. So yeah, the Chiefs, I hate to say this, but I'm going 13-4 as well. I just that number is sticking out to me. I could see a loss or two maybe in the division. Maybe the Chargers, and then maybe the Broncos jump up and nip you one of the games. I don't see a loss to the Raiders though. I really don't. Not with how bad the Chiefs embarrassed the Raiders twice last year.
Yeah, it was bad.
It wasn't even close.
One of them was all time bad. Like Nick and I went at that game.
The logo
like,
game.
Yeah, the logo game. It was like an all time worst. I mean, these teams have been playing. They've played 120 games, and it was the worst beatdown the Chiefs had ever laid on the Raiders ever in the history of the matchup between the two teams, going all the way back to the AFL.
Right.
I don't see Devontae Adams closing that gap. I put a stat out there. The Chiefs. I'm trying to remember now. I think it's coming to me. Touchdowns worth 6. Yeah, that was it. The Chiefs beat the Raiders by a combined 66 points last year, which would be 6 touchdowns, right? And they're like, Devontae Adams scored 11 touchdowns all of last year. And that's how many touchdowns the Chiefs beat the Raiders by in 2 games. I don't see him making up that big of a gap between the two. I just don't see it. So I could see a loss or 2 in the division, maybe 1 loss. You lose to the Chargers. Maybe you lose 1 to the Broncos. And then Tampa, San Francisco road game, depending on what Trey Lance looks like. Rams, Bills. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
yeah. That is one of those for sure.
So I really like all the road games and the 9 consecutive games against teams with winning records from the previous year. I like that being early because you theoretically should be fresher and healthier for those games. I'd rather do that than coming down the stretch playing 9 straight games against teams with winning records, your 9 toughest games or whatever you want to say it. For the last 9 games of the year, I'd rather it be the first 9. You guys agree? Or
well, I mean, on paper, right, we're playing against winning teams, but if you look at our last 9, I know the Jags and like the Texans are thrown into there, dude. But then like I said, we're playing the Rams, we're playing the Bengals, we're playing divisional rivals. Like to me, that seems like the tougher stretch of football than the first.
Yeah.
And just because like more's on the line, you know which teams are there, the tiebreakers, you know what I mean? Like it's crunch time versus like you can give up a few in the beginning and still be okay, as we learned last year completely. But yeah, that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Nick,
there's just going to be teams that are going to rise and fall, and so
that's true too.
You just really don't know. How many times do we sit there and we do picks the first week and we're just like, shit, I didn't see that coming at all, right? Like, I mean, you just don't know. Like, it's inexplicable, but every year is a new year, and teams are going to be different. So, yeah, I mean, but I'm glad that we have the bulk of our home games later in the year, which is good, especially since we have more away games this year than we have home games. The bye week, is in a good spot. And it's just really going to see, it's going to be a tough division this year, I think. And it's just, we just got to be, that hair better than the other teams. And then we'll be playing home playoff games. So we got the best coach, we got the best quarterback. I think we're good to go, man.
Yeah, John mentioned a comment in there, and I was going to mention on it. Like we always kind of like compare quarterbacks. I feel like, and like the coaches get a little glossed over. We do bring up Andy Reid a lot, but like I think we have the better coach out of everybody we just brought up. McVay a little bit, like just that young, fresh kind of eyes on that. Like that's kind of like the better coach I could see, like a comparable coach. But like I would take our coach versus anybody that we're playing this year.
Yeah, unless you're playing like the hoodie, you've got the advantage of coach.
Yeah.
You've got the advantage of quarterback. You got the advantage of tight end. Yeah, Doug's got a comment in there. I don't know if you can throw that up or not. Going to be interesting to see how we spread the ball around got deeper. Doug thinks at wide receiver. Maybe, yeah. I don't. Maybe Juju is an upgrade over like a Byron Pringle or Demarcus Robinson. No, probably he is. He's a better receiver. I mean, none of those guys have ever had a year 1,400 yards like Juju's had. MVS, maybe he's better than a Pringle or a Robinson. Maybe we feed Hardman plays a big role. Maybe he can step up in the absence of the Cheetah. Travis Kelce, best tight end in football. Sorry, John B., but he is.
Hands down.
Facts.
Science.
They're not going to suck on offense. But
All the science, John.
they're not going to suck on offense. I mean, as long as you got Patrick Mahomes, but I just have a hard time saying that they're going to be as good or better losing Tyreek, man. I just have a hard time.
Going along with this deep wide receiver field, I saw an interesting question on Twitter today. Who's more at risk of losing their job, Mecole Hardman or CEH? I want to pose that to you guys. What do you think?
That's a good question.
We're losing the starting position at least.
I'd say Hardman. Hardman because he's not a first-round draft pick, and there's more competition at the position with them bringing in Juju and MVS and Sky Moore being a rookie. But they're John B. agrees with me there, Hardman. But I can see CEH losing his job too. He has not proven himself to be a top-flight, top-shelf running back. He just hasn't. And this Isaiah Pacheco that they got in the 7th round, running back from Rutgers, fastest 40 time of any running back in the combine this year. Maybe he's a little bit of an under the radar guy because he played at Rutgers, which is not a football powerhouse. But they brought in Ronald Jones, Rojo.
Yeah,
fucking fantasy football players know all about Rojo. I'd say Hardman, but that's a tough call. That's tough. Nick?
I mean, Hardman for all the reasons that you've stated. I mean, we just have so many wide receivers on roster now.
Justin Ross. I didn't even say Justin Ross.
Yeah, I mean,
if he's healthy. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, if Ross is, is half of what he, we thought he could be, right? From like
the fucking funniest nickname I've ever heard any player probably ever given. It's just
okay. I'm switching. It's CEH.
It's a tougher question than when you first think about it, right? It's like, oh wait,
right.
yeah, CEH.
Yeah.
No, all right, yeah, it's got to be CEH. Just performance, right? I mean, like Hardman there, like he caught a big pass against the Bills in overtime that got us basically down to where we scored. Scott, if you could focus.
I can't. Every time I hear, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Every time I hear that, I just picture a snail with like a football helmet on, just like.
Doug nailed it. Going
through the line. Slow. All right, I'm done, Nick. I'm sorry. I'm going to let you go.
Hardman had a couple of really nice plays in the postseason. He had that big play in overtime against the Bills, and then he had just an amazing catch that I've talked about a couple times in the AFC Championship game. Kind of quiet other than that, I guess, but I think that he's starting to come into his own. So CEH, I mean, I think the writing was kind of on the wall in the playoffs, especially. I mean, like he just did not perform well, and if you can't perform well in those situations, like you don't have a roster spot. I'm not saying they're going to cut him, but I would be
first round draft pick though. Teams just do not want to move on from you. They want that.
Yeah.
They
what do you
get
both?
the
Who do you pick, right? Hardman or Clyde for you?
Dude, if it was based on production alone, it'd be CEH. I don't know. I saw too many other good running backs on our team like that were better than him, and they didn't get the shot. Like Gore, McKinnon trucked it last year, and we don't get that, but
Daryl
I
Williams,
see
1,000.
Gore kind of stepping up. I know we got Rojo like right there, but I see Gore right at the hills for that spot. I thought he should have been the starter last year. He crushed it, had the longest run of a running back for our team last year.
Yeah.
I think CEH. I think his numbers up. There's two guys right there nipping at his heels. Whereas Hardman, like he has more of an established presence on that team, right? Like we are getting new guys, but he's going to be the returning veteran. He is the Jet. He was a part of the Legion of Zoom. Like I don't see him losing his spot anytime soon.
No, probably not. That's contract year for him too. I'm pretty sure this season. So maybe you see guys blow up in contract year. You're talking about running backs. I just saw Daryl Williams, man, 1,000 total yards, 8 touchdowns, not even on the team now. I would have gotten rid of Clyde before I got rid of him, but hey, what do I know? Final thoughts.
Too, man.
And we're talking about receivers. To me, I'll make a bold statement right now. If Justin Ross is healthy, he's the best receiver on the Chiefs this year.
I'm eager to see these guys. If they can live up to the hype, oh man, it's going to be so much fun to watch this offense this year, dude. Like what Doug was alluding to, it's going to be fun to watch them spread the ball around to all these different guys. You're never going to know who to guard because it's not going to be the Kelsey Hill show. It's going to be like, oh, there's 5 guys running every direction. I don't know which way to go. It'd be fun. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I know you got some work to be doing there. Bo's getting ready to move. You're welcome for the hot take, John. You're welcome for me not mentioning the quarterback of the 49ers who shall not be mentioned for the sake of your health. It's going to be an interesting season, man. It's an interesting schedule. There's some interesting way it's laid out. It's tough, but you alluded to it a little bit earlier too, though. One of you guys did. There's always teams you think are going to be good that fall off, and there's always teams that you don't anticipate being good that kind of jump up in the NFL every year. So this little exercise is, I'm not going to say it's moot, but it's kind of like doing mock drafts. You don't really know. Like injuries, there's so many factors that are going to go into it. It's all guessing at this point.
Right, completely.
In the off season, but it's fun to do. And again, I enjoy the schedule release. I get excited about it. I look forward to it every season. So everybody that watched, appreciate you joining in. Appreciate the comments from John, Doug. We'll see if we can hook up with you tomorrow, John. I'll hit you up. I'm free for sure tomorrow night. I don't have anything going on. Maybe we can talk NFL schedule and talk about your boy Trey Lance and some sports on the Locker Room Rant. It's a great show. If you haven't gone and subscribed after you jump off here, go over and look them up. Give them a like. Give them a subscription. You won't be disappointed. I look forward to it every week. Thanks for the kind words, John.
Yeah,
it's a funny
show. If you haven't subscribed and liked our show yet, do that too. And then, like our shit before you do John B's and subscribe to it. But make sure you get to John too. So, fellas, it's good chatting with you.
As always.
We're right around the corner from OTAs and training camp in July, man. Like a month and a half away here.
Close.
I never want to wish away. I never want to wish away summer, but we're getting closer, and by the time fall rolls around, Chiefs should be ready to roll and playing some good games. And 9:00 Eastern on Tuesdays. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a good show. Fellas, good talking with you.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
Oh, yeah.
Bo, safe travels on your move.
Thank you, sir.
If you're heading through the Midwest, man, swing by.
Oh,
to
yeah.
See you guys.
I'll let you know.
And, for sure.
Maybe I don't know when the next episode will be, the next show. Maybe we get some news. Pretty much all the free agents and the schedule and everything's over now. We're training camp, so might be a little while before we see y'all. But in the meantime, maybe go check out a past episode or two. We'd greatly appreciate it. And again, likes and subscriptions are more than appreciated. And until then, let's go Chiefs, and let's get through the summer. Let's get to these OTAs and get ready for the season coming up, fellas.
Let's do it. Go Chiefs!
Chiefs!